It's an honour for me to be here, and it's an honour for me to have been beside Letitia on this journey in the mayoral role. And I think I'm very passionate, having children and grandchildren and seeing them grow up in the environment they're growing up in. Can I recognise my colleague Nancy, Letitia, and thank you very much for the work that you're doing. And can I say, there's a tinge of envy as to where you're going, because many years ago, after my wife was diagnosed with MND, we hired a big bus and we hired a number of people to look after us, and the whole family, 17 of us, 3 children, their husbands and wives, and the grandchildren. We had the most beautiful time. It's indescribable where you're going, the vision of the whole place, and I guess that I will never forget it. Can I also recognise David Wilcox, Carlos too, and Savannah, who was, I thought I was her favourite, but I'm not so sure anymore. But ladies and gentlemen, to be able to support this since I became the mayor in 2016 is something that I'm very proud of. And you know, we are very blessed to live in the region we live in. It was just yesterday that I was involved in the launch of a whole program run by city churches looking after people who don't have a home. And some of the stories that came out yesterday about people who were homeless, given a couple of weeks being with these people, it's made a difference. But I think we need to work together to eradicate negative influences such as pornography and that antisocial behaviour. I guess it's unacceptable for children, let alone very impersonable youngsters, to be exposed to any form of pornography. It's about the loss of innocence. While all pervasive media content, good and bad, is available at a touch of a button, any personal device, we can educate our young people about what they're consuming. Having children and their own devices is no solution, so we need to make sure that families are able to control that. The work of City Women Toowoomba through their campaigns make education resources available for adults to speak to children in a most appropriate way and what is a most valuable way. It also provides a resource for what can be, to many people, a very uncomfortable void. Can I wish Letitia all the success in her latest charity ride as she pedals in pursuit of extra funds to distribute more copies of her book, How to Talk to Kids About Pornography. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that City Women Toowoomba wishes to build on our family-friendly reputation and also instill positive values in respect for relationships. As I take a helicopter view of the community, and I know my colleagues do the same, we know that nurturing and educating of some of our children is done beautifully in some areas, yet in other areas, parenting is failing. And I'm delighted to see some, particularly in the Indigenous area, many people, and Councillor Summerfield and I met with some the other day out at Cunnamulla, some people who are doing so much about parenting, because it is the big failure, there's no doubt. As a community leader, any issue that has the potential to promote or normalise violence against women and children causes me grave concerns. It's my hope, like each of us here today, that we make Toowoomba a better place for all residents. It's okay to talk about economic and material growth, but it cannot be at the expense of social, cultural and spiritual development. And that is the very reason why from day one I have supported the City Free from Porn campaign. In this culture of materialism and consumerism, we need to sort the good from the bad and teach our children right from wrong. The rise of pornography pandemic doesn't only harm men with an addictive nature, but it breaks down that wonderful, respectful family relationship that is the very centre of who we've always been. It distorts the young, impressionable minds. The saddest statistic of all is that the use of pornography in the home has a flow on to affect children. It's reported that 80% of young people's unwanted exposure to pornography actually occurs in the home when they are around about 11 years of age. So ladies and gentlemen, today I think we're celebrating power and the pride that Letitia has brought to our community. I admire your courage and your determination to do what you're doing, and I know exactly what you're doing and I know the value of it that's coming our way. when you look at your young people, and I've got a couple of young granddaughters in that era, 13 and 16, and for them to understand, and they do, they're being beautifully parented by my son and his wife, but for them to have an understanding of all this is so critical. So I commend City Women Toowoomba for their leadership, and as I said, Letitia, your courage and determination in this area is something that I think this whole community should be very, very proud of. So the best of luck. Once again, I'll have to place on the record my envy that I'm not driving along behind looking at all these beautiful scenery, but all the very best for the second stage of your charity ride, and I hope that you raise the money that you need to promote what you're doing. Thank you.